Who want one last trip to the long trail?
With the Tekken World Tour Finals coming to an end and also Arslan being crowned the undisputed champion of Tekken 7, things are starting to get serious, bro. We've been waiting for this game forever and it feels like it's forever away. It's hard to comprehend that it's less than 2 weeks away. This game is on our doorsteps and it's knocking. The release of the opening cutscene is something I've been waiting to see since EVO. It lives up to my expectations and it achieves even so much more. In this video, I just want to break down all of the little elements in here and callbacks to Tekken 5, to past games, and everything new, hidden details and all. It starts off with a white dove that's traveling through New York City. I love the transition here, how behind the dove you see the city is pretty nice. As the camera turns, you start seeing the destruction, cars exploded, everything that Jin Kazama and Kazuya is currently doing. This dove represents Jin Kazama and it's kind of like her entering in the battlefield. It kind of is like symbolizing Tekken 8 as a whole. She's been gone for a long time, now she's here. But as it progresses, the camera does a quick turnaround. You could really see all the destruction everywhere. In the center of it is Jin Kazama hunched over. Kazuya's basically putting them down in the dirt. It's interesting because in Tekken 7, Claudio said that Jin's Devil Gene is stronger than Kazuya's. But then you have this scene here and just all of them that we've been shown so far in Tekken 7 where he cannot compete. I wonder why the change? Why the difference? Was Claudio simply saying that he has greater potential, but maybe he hasn't reached that potential? Or maybe something is limiting his potential? We'll only find out in the story. But regardless, Jin is not giving up, and the way that that dove is entering in the fray, it kind of seems like this is like uplifting Jin and motivating him. But here you have the villain of Tekken 8, Kazuya Mishima. I know people don't like when I call him a villain, but that's currently the position he's taking. The buildings behind Jin Kazama is crumbling all around him as well. As both of them continue to fight, it cuts over. It shows us Sanchez, aka Victor, and this is a tourist boat. Harada said when he visited Paris, he was on this same exact boat, and it basically shows you like the most beautiful sights before you reach your destination. He's either leaving or he's returning to Paris in this instance. Probably leaving, because if you consider what they told us about just his story, his perspective, he sees everything that's going on and he feels he needs to get involved, take initiative. This could be that moment that he is departing and joining in the battle for himself. You skip over here to Times Square, New York City, and this is spectacular. The cinematography, the cinematics, the scale, whatever words you want to use to describe Tekken 8, it has to be good ones. Great ones. This game is presenting things that I have not seen done in any fighting game ever. It zooms in on the character Reina. Now just looking at the way that this is being presented, maybe this is her like making her entrance into the scene. Once Heihachi dies, she begins her journey from wherever she's at all the way up until the King of the Iron Fist tournament. So I think this section will be capturing her journey through all of it as well. I like how she has the hood over her eyes as well. You could tell she's kind of like locked in her own world, tunnel vision. She's focused on the goal and nothing else, like all Mishimas are. In the second scene, you have Jack 8, you have Nina first off, then you have Jack 8, and you have an army of Jack 7s. I really want to highlight one, Nina looks amazing here, and we really haven't seen anything more than this from Nina. Other characters, you see them participating in the battle scene. Nina has not been seen fighting in there just yet. She's probably commanding it, but she's not there yet. Jack 8 has not been seen anywhere. So far, this is the only model that I've been able to see. I've been looking through all these other trailers to see if there's at least one other version, but I think there's only one Jack 8 model, and this is him. The fact that he's right here with Nina shows you that this guy means business. Next scene, you have something amazing. So these are G Corporation soldiers. As it pans over behind them, you have Brian Fury, the master of chaos. He has some poor, defenseless, helpless soldier, and he's just squeezing the life out of him. This is the first time we've seen Brian Fury in the story at all, and this pretty much confirms that every character will be featured in the story in one way or another. There's a lot of billboards all around, but I don't see one that's related to any specific character. So let's continue. I don't know if this will be like Fang Wei's introduction or if this is just something that cool that they did for the trailer. Just the graphics of it makes it seem like it is a part of the story, but only time will tell. Regardless, this is absolutely fire. I love when fighting games like highlight characters like this and just like their fighting style. You give them a moment to just pop off. Who doesn't love a Fang Wei pop off? Skipping over now to this part here. Jin Kazama sitting on this log. Of course, this is a callback to over 2 decades ago, Tekken Tag Tournament 1. In the opening cutscene, Jin Kazama was shown sitting on pretty much the same exact log, and he was looking just as hopeless. Now we're going to get the pieces of the puzzle and find out the deeper meaning to this moment. I do want to note as well, someone sent me this on Twitter, some other people found it on Reddit, but Jin Kazama's shoes is right here at his feet. So it seems like she warps in, because we can see in another trailer that the dove comes in, and then when the dove leaves, there's shoes behind. The shoes being there is a interesting indicator of something though. As he begins to lift his head up, so does Kazuya. It mirrors these two characters, the dark, the light. The dark, the light. This was a really cool part in the opening as well. Huge callback to Tekken 5. The music that's playing during this is pretty fire as well. I know some people don't like it. Some people's like, whatever. You know, comparing it to Tekken 5, nothing will ever be greater than Tekken 5. The nostalgia has taken hold of that. So you really got to separate the two. This is good in its own way, in its own right. And they do an excellent job of increasing, elevating the opening of the game unlike any other. If you look at what Tekken 7 did, it was pretty cool, but this is leagues above that. Something that was really cool as well, here you have Zafina, she does a cartwheel in, and then you have Claudio, he spins in. Both of these characters are back to back. These two characters being intertwined in this way has unlimited potential in terms of story, and I can't wait to see what these two characters do. Next you have Azuzina, and she's dancing as always. She has her coffee mug here and she's pointing to it. You see that on the coffee mug is Leroy Smith's brand. We were shown in the trailer, Leo literally says, what, you're working with G Corporation? So why is she working with G Corporation, but she has a Leroy Smith brand on her logo? Some people believe that Aquafina will start off working with G Corp, but then Leroy Smith will basically offer her more money, more fame, more glory, and tempt her over to Jin's side. But I want to throw this at you. What if we see the opposite? What if we see her being very close with Leroy Smith, but then Kazuya Mishima comes in and offers more money, more fame, more glory, and she switched? In my opinion, that would make more of an interesting story, because we could see how Leroy Smith deals with that betrayal. Once again, you talk about this dove coming into Jin. Is the shoes already on the ground? The shoes are already on the ground. So Jin is already sitting here with the shoes, and then this dove, which represents Jin Kazama, comes in. And you can see he gets up and he's looking at it because he understands the symbolism of this bird. So he gets up and he's looking like, wait, what's going on? And I like here how it leaves behind one feather. For those of you who are very familiar with past Tekken openings, you understand how one feather is always left behind, whether it be a black feather for Devil Jin or a white feather for the Kazama power. I don't think they ever given the Kazama ability a name. It's kind of just like the Kazama ability. Here you get this really cool scene of Reina sitting in a chair. You have black smoke all around. She takes off the hood, crosses the legs, stares you directly in your eyes. The replacement of, not replacement, the new Mishima has arrived. It zooms into her eye, and then boom, you're on this battlefield. This battlefield is absolutely massive. Now remember when I said I did not see any Jack 8s? This is what I mean. I literally went through this whole thing to see if there was a Jack 8 robot, and I know it's really blurry, but I was not able to see anything. But what I was able to see is on the left you have Kuma. Kinda in the middle you have a character with a red hat, dark shirt, tan pants. This is Shahid. There's another character, I think this is Steve Fox, but I can't really make out who this is. I see a little bit of red pants, a dark shirt, maybe Steve Fox, but basically everyone's going to be participating in this battle. As we see in the next cutscene, you have Lars tearing this Jack robot to shreds. Then you have Lee and King come up. Both of them do iconic somersault kicks. And then notice Raven running in the background. Look at him. Dashing. He jumps in the air. He has his eyes on one thing and one thing only. Dragunov, the White Angel of Death. These two have a long-lasting battle and they're hoping to settle it here once and for all. Just briefly talking about some of these rivalries that's been going on for multiple different games. You talk about 2 decades, Yoshi, Brian, Asuka, Fang, Raven, Dragunov, the list goes on. I really wonder if Tekken 8 will be the end to all of these, or will it just be like a new chapter, a new stage, a new segment? I think it's time to close the book on some of these, but then others can take a new form and just be recreated. Here was another very interesting turn of events. So you have Paul Phoenix and Law fighting each other. What is this? We've seen these two guys throughout the entirety of Tekken to be buddy. They're best friends through thick and thin, poor, hunger, failure, success. They always have a scheme to come back on top. In Tekken 8, it literally said that their bios was to try one more time and make the tournament the best they can. Now, I'm wondering if Kazuya does host the tournament, they do prepare for it, but then when Kazuya obtains Azazel, Devil Form, whatever, then things go left. All the characters in that moment is faced with a ultimatum. You can either continue what you're doing now, join Jin and try to fight back, or you can join Kazuya and help him achieve whatever goal it is, and then he will reward you after. And it seems like Law may have taken that deal, taking the deal with the devil. Some lawmates are very upset with this because they feel like that goes against what the character is. I don't know. I think it's a interesting twist. It definitely depends on how they do it, how they go about it, because you don't want to completely destroy the character simply because you're trying to put him on Kazuya's team. So how they go about establishing this change of heart for characters like Law, Azuzina, and all of those characters who's joining Kazuya is going to be very interesting. First off, before we move on to Lily Asuka, look at how fluid and dynamic the camera is. Dragunov slides and the camera pans out through the legs of Law, and then the battle's on these two, and then the camera raises up in the air and reveals Lily and Asuka. The camera work and cinematography that's being displayed here is like legendary. This is some very talented people putting the story of Tekken 8 together. I just want to highlight that because I don't think a lot of people really are identifying how fluid the camera is and how seamless a lot of these transitions are. But for Lily and Asuka, seeing them work in tandem really is cool because these two characters have their own turmoils, their own back and forth, their own shenanigans. And I'm happy to see that they're able to put that aside and focus on the larger thing at play. Because I feel like a lot of these characters, they're focusing on something that doesn't matter when you talk about a world war going on. Some of these characters are the most powerful people on the planet. And for them to be arguing about stupid stuff, it kind of like diminishes what the mission was they're doing. So seeing these two characters finally get involved, I love to see it. In the next scene here, you have the GOAT of GOATs, Yoshimitsu. This is the first time he's also shown in this battle as well, and it's only right that you have Brian Fury with a minigun trying to tear him down. This is literally what happened, I believe, in his Tekken 6 ending, where Brian Fury was trying to do the same thing. So just seeing Yoshimitsu and Brian Fury in the same situation is amazing. Alyssa's also here as well, her first time being shown on the battlefield. Brian Fury's trying to shoot her in the sky. She does her signature Orm Blast. This is like her go-to ability. She does it on everyone. Haran gets a moment. Zhao Yu, Panda, and Kuma also have a moment as well. In this battlefield, every character will be highlighted and their strengths will be shown. If this is done perfectly, this could be one of the most iconic cutscenes in gaming to date, because lately they've been slipping, and this kind of action, this kind of energy is something that gaming has been needing for a long time. We skip over to Jun Kazama, and she's somewhere I cannot explain. The developers have said so many times that she is alive, she never died. But here, she's in this like la la land. We never seen her like on the battlefield or in New York City. Anytime it's in a real tangible place, or it's a place where another character is, it's either her dove present or she's in just some weird, like, I don't know. I wonder what the developers is trying to tell us with this. They're being very reserved with how much they're showing us of Jun Kazama, and I can't wait to see what story they have to tell. Of course, she also has that white dove as well. Maybe this is a piece of her that's gathering information. I think Odin has 2 ravens that he sends out, and they act as his eyes and his ears. They listen for him. Maybe Jun Kazama has the same thing. Instead of 2 crows, she has this white bird, and then she has the raven with the 3 legs. That would be very interesting. And honestly, I know when I say it, it sounds far-fetched, but Odin is from Norse mythology. There's a lot of Norse mythology elements that's already within Tekken. You have the tree, which I believe the world tree, but then you also have Yggdrasil, which is the name of the world tree. That is what Jin and Lars' faction is named after. So there is some Norse mythology elements already at play, and I wouldn't be surprised if they tied in some Odin lore with Jun Kazama. That would be fire. If they do decide to make unknown canon, and they do decide to have Jun Kazama be stuck in that void, then it will take a credible amount of knowledge for her to escape. The same thing with Odin, the gatherer of knowledge. You then cut to the rain stage, but this seems to be one of the final destinations for both Jin and Kazuya. He does the Asuka Kazama parry, and he's ready to face Kazuya. I already pointed out how in this battle Kazuya's eyes is not red, but that's something you just got to keep in mind. These 2 characters fight. As they clash, it cuts. It then transitions over to this interesting thing where you have the blood cells, the white blood cells. It goes into the DNA, and then you see the chain underneath. This represents the devil gene and how it bounds them on a DNA like level, microscopic level. And then it breaks. This shows that they are free from the devil gene, and their destiny is their own. Their fate is their own. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and bye-bye.